37th, na? 35. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 45. Krishna rescues his teacher's son. Text is 37. So we are taking 37 and 38. Okay, so we'll chant the 37th verse together. Dvijastayostam mahiman madbhutam samlaksharajanati manushimmatim sammantrapatnya samaharnave mrutam balam prabhase varayam babhuvaha dvijastayostam mahimanam samlaksharajanati manushimmatim sammantrapatnya samaharnave mrutam balam prabhase varayam babhuvaha dvijastayostam mahimanam samlaksharajanati manushimmatim sammantrapatnya samaharnave mrutam balam prabhase varayam babhuvaha balam prabhase varayam babhuvaha yastajastam mahimamanadbhutam manushimmatim sammantrapatnya samaharnave mrutam se varayam babhuvaha dvijastayostam mahimamanadbhutam samlaksharajanati manushimmatim sammantrapatnya samaharnave mrutam balam prabhase varayam babhuvaha dvijastayostam mahimanam samlaksharajanati manushimmatim samantrapatnya samaharnave mrutam balam prabhase varayam babhuvaha. Matajis. Dvijastayostam mahimanam samlaksharajanati manushimmatim samantrapatnya samaharnave mritam balam prabhase varayam babhuvaha. Word to word translation. Dvijaha, the learned Brahmanas, tayoho, of the two of them, tam, that, mahimanam, greatness, adbhutam, amazing, samlaksha, observing well, rajan, O king, atimanushim, beyond human capacity, matim, intelligence, samantriya, after consulting, patnya, with his wife, saha, he, maha arnave, in the great ocean, mritam, who has died, balam, his child, prabhase, at the holy place Prabhasa, varayam, adbhutaha, he chose, varayam babhuvaha, he chose. Translation and purport by servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O king, the learned Brahmana Sandipani carefully considered the two lords' glorious and amazing qualities and their superhuman intelligence. Then, after consulting with his wife, he chose as his remuneration the return of his young son who had died in the ocean at Prabhasa. Purport. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the child was captured by the conch shell demon while playing at the Mahashiva Kshetra. Text 38. Tathetyaratharuhya maharathau ratham prabhasamasadya duranta vikramau velamupavrajjanishidatum kshanam sindhur vidatvarahana maharatayo. Translation. So be it, replied those two great charioteers of limitless might. And they at once mounted their chariots and set off for Prabhasa. When they reached that place, they walked up to the shore and sat down. In a moment, the deity of the ocean, recognizing them to be the Supreme Lord, approached them with offering of tribute. Purport. Western scholars sometimes think that references in the ancient books of wisdom to the deity of ocean, the deity of the sun, and so on, reveals a primitive mythical way of thinking. They sometimes say that primitive men think that the ocean is a god, or that the sun and moon are gods. In fact, references such as the word Sindhu in this verse, meaning the ocean, indicate the person who governs that aspect of physical nature. We can give several modern examples. In the United Nations, we may say the United States votes yes, the Soviet Union votes no. We hardly mean that the physical countries or the buildings in them have voted. We mean that the particular person representing that political and geographical entity has voted. Yet the newspaper will simply say the United States voted, decided, etc. And everyone knows that what that means. Similarly, in business, we may say a large conglomerate had swallowed up a smaller firm. We hardly mean that the buildings, office, equipment, and the like have physically swallowed another building full of workers and office equipment. We mean that the empowered authorities have engaged in a particular act on behalf of their respective corporate entities. Unfortunately, modern scholars are eager to confirm their pet theories that ancient spiritual wisdom is primitive, mythic, and largely supplanted by more modern way of thinking, exemplified by their own eloquent remark. However, much in modern scholarship must be rethought in the light of Krishna consciousness. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, today and tomorrow we are having very special occasion, and that is we are celebrating 45th anniversary of Shri Shri Radha Ras Bihari Mandir, which opened in 1978. And we have with us the dedicated servants of Srila Prabhupada and Radha Ras Bihari. So Maharaj is sitting here. So he was a head pujari and served Prabhupada and Ras Bihari both here. So we'd like to take the blessings of Maharaj so that we can speak something. So we take the blessings of all the seniors and all of you so that we can speak on this subject. So this specific section going on in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, Krishna rescues the teacher's son. Sandipani Muni, when he was fortunate to have Krishna and Balaram as his disciples, and then he taught them, and to the surprise and amazement of all the students and even the teacher, Krishna and Balaram, they were so fast in terms of learning the 64 kalas. At the end of this Gurukul, when the time came of giving Guru Dakshina, then Krishna and Balaram, they both went, paid obeisances to Guru Sandipani and asked, "My dear teacher, what we can give you?" So that is the way a disciple should be, that Chakshudan Dilo Jai Janme Janme Prabhu Sei Divya Jnan Hriday Prakashita. That the disciple is always very indebted. And that indebtedness doesn't go away at all, whatever he gives back to his guru. So out of that indebtedness, they asked that what can we give? What can we offer? And being the teacher of Lord Krishna, he also was understanding the Lord's divine nature. Jai Shri Radharas Bihari Ji ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaunitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So understanding Lord's divine powers, he thought of asking something which is not ordinary. Generally people will ask some money, some gold, some things like that. So he was intelligent, and his intelligence also is seen that he didn't take the decision alone. He went and asked his wife, who was also equally competent. And then they discussed what will be the best Guru Dakshina. So when they were discussing, they understood that we should ask something by which the whole world will know the glory of Krishna. Lord's glory will become more manifest. So we should ask something by which we become the part in service of Krishna. So then they asked something which is impossible for any human being to do, because they knew that Lord is not ordinary and he can do anything and everything. That's why here the word comes as Duranta Vikramam, means that he has powers which are unlimited. His glories are unlimited. So they were thinking, why to ask something which is very small, which anybody can give us. So then they asked that, please bring our dead son back. And if this would have been asked to any mortal human being, he would say sorry. But here we find that Lord Krishna and Balaram say, so be it. Don't worry, we'll get it. And then they mounted the chariot and then they went to the Prabhasa. Chakravarti Thakur, he says that son was captured by conch shell demon. What is his name? Panchajanya. And afterwards that became the property of Krishna. So this whole pastime of rescuing the teacher's son gives us an understanding that Krishna is not ordinary and he can do anything, and that is his glory. So similarly in this world also, when we are approaching Krishna, we should not approach for anything lesser, anything material which anybody can give us. In this world, health can be given by some proper medication, doctors. Wealth can be given by some the big boss or companies by serving them. Some position can be given by politicians in this world. But then why to go to Krishna for things which anyway we can get it here by little endeavors? That's why Srimad Bhagavatam tells us, Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yad bhramatam uparyadaha tallabhyate dukkhavadanyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhiraram hasa. So he says that Kovida means one who is intelligent. Prayateta means one who endeavors, tries. So what should be the endeavors done by intelligent person? Bhagavatam says, Na labhyate yad bhramatam uparyadha. That the things which is unobtainable even from the topmost planet Brahmaloka to Patal Loka, something which is not obtainable, which is not possible, that you should try for, not the things which are already there in this world. And then he says that if you try for things in this world, which they come anyway by our karma. So we try for something which is just readily obtainable. What is so great in that endeavor? And then he says, Tal labhyate dukkhavad anyataha sukham. The way by our karma, the misery come uninvited. We don't go and pray, but then it comes. So similarly, the way misery comes uninvited, similarly the happiness also will come uninvited according to our karma, our quota. So then why we have to waste our time and energy of this valuable human life to endeavor for something which anyway going to come and something which is not so valuable, which is temporary. So that's why an intelligent person, he wants something in this world which is generally unobtainable. And that's how we see that here in this case, devotees of the Lord, they ask something which is beyond this world, so that Lord is happy to bestow that, and person who is receiving, he also becomes benefited. So Lord can pull us out of this repeated birth and death, and only Lord can do that. And when we are celebrating this very special day now, 45th anniversary of Radha Ras Bihari, there is very nice shloka which comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, that it talks about the power of the devotees who are devoted to the Lord. So this is Bhagavatam, which this is Te vai vidantyatitaranti cha deva mayam stri shudrahu na shabara api papa jiva yadyad adbhuta krama parayana shila shiksha tiryak jana api kimu shruti dharanaye. The translation is, surrendered souls, even from groups leading sinful lives, such as women, the laborer class, the mountaineers, the Siberians, or even the birds and beasts, can also know about the science of Godhead and become liberated from the clutches of illusory energy by surrendering unto the pure devotee of the Lord and by following in the footsteps in devotional service. So this shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam in 2nd canto talks about that how even the lower class people also can be delivered very easily by Adbhuta Krama Parayana Shila. Adbhuta Krama means one who is very powerful, very amazing activities performed, and that is the Lord, Adbhuta Krama. He says Adbhuta Krama Parayana. Adbhuta Krama Parayana means pure devotees, Bhagavat Parayana. So he says, Bhagavatam says that one who is, the word to word meaning, Prabhupada so wonderfully writes here. He says Adbhuta Krama means one whose acts are so wonderful. Parayana, those who are devotees. Shila, behavior. Shiksha, trained by. So, one who has taken shelter of such Adbhuta Krama Parayana devotees, and then he is trained by such uh, devoted souls, what happens? Even those who have no access to Krishna consciousness also becomes fortunate by very easily getting access to Krishna, because the power of this Adbhuta Krama Parayana devotees. And Prabhupada writes very nicely in the purport, a sinful soul cannot approach the Lord directly, but such a sinful man can very easily approach a pure devotee of the Lord. And if one agrees to put himself under the guidance of such devotee of the Lord, he can also understand the science of God and can also become like the transcendental pure devotee of the Lord, and thus gets his liberation back to Godhead, back home to eternal happiness. And then Prabhupada writes very poetically, very wonderfully. So, realization of the science of Godhead and relief from the unnecessary, useless struggle for existence are not at all difficult for the willing candidate. Prabhupada's one word is so chosen, and he says, so realization of the science of Godhead and relief from the unnecessary, useless struggle for existence are not at all difficult for willing candidate, but they are very difficult for person who are not surrendered souls, but only simple, profitless speculators. He says, simple, profitless speculators. For them it is very difficult. But those who take shelter of Krishna through his pure devotees. Because Prabhupada says Krishna is very difficult to understand. So, although we stand in front of Radha Ras Bihari, but how many of us we have the power to have access to Radha Ras Bihari? Radha Ras Bihari is merciful to everybody, but then how much we can access that? So, the mercy is flowing, but how we access? Prabhupada says here that when we access that mercy through pure devotees, it becomes very easy. And as this verse says that anybody who can be fallen as Prabhupada writes here, Huna, the mountaineers, and he writes Shabara as the Siberians, those who have no etiquettes of eating, no etiquettes of behavior, like that. So, even such people become eligible to practice Krishna consciousness and become pure devotees. So, when Prabhupada was here, and we are fortunate that we have just, so close to Prabhupada's appearance. Just 50 years back, Prabhupada was here doing his pastimes. So, we have seen through the Prabhupada's disciples, their glories, that how Prabhupada was so expert to deliver any soul coming to him. And he may come from any background, he may come from any qualification, without qualification. Prabhupada could pick up them and put them on very transcendental platform. And there are so many examples here. Maharaj can tell me, at the end, we'll request Maharaj to speak. But we have seen here devotees coming and instantly becoming devotees. So, one such great example is of our Haridas Prabhu, Bada Haridas Prabhu, that he came here to steal Prabhupada's watch. He was a thief, and you can imagine the kind of situation he came from. But when he came here, he was attracted to Prabhupada, inspired by Prabhupada, and he was telling in one of the class that when he had to make the passport, because Prabhupada wanted him to go to Russia and do preaching. Can you imagine the thief going to Russia? So that can happen only by Prabhupada's mercy. That's what Bhagavatam says here. Yat adbhuta krama parayana shila shiksha. That when someone is trained by powerful, pure devotee, anybody can do anything, practically. So, he was telling that when he was making a passport, he had no clue what to write the form and things like that. So, very proudly he was telling that now also he has the passport. His name, at the father's name he has put Prabhupada's name. Documented. So, it's a legal son. So all these are Prabhupada disciples. They are all sons of Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, he said that I had 4 sons, but then now I have 4,000 sons who are more loving and obedient. So Prabhupada said that I have not lost anything by serving Krishna. I gained 1,000 times more. So we see that the power of pure devotee is that he can transform material things into spiritual. That's the meaning of spiritual touch. That it has a power to transform anything which is material into spiritual. So we see Prabhupada came here and he transformed this land of dirt and junk and mosquitoes and rats into such palace of Radha Ras Bihari. So that is his spiritual touch. And not only he just created the nice, good-looking building, but he created such valuable gem-like devotees when he was here. So, we also, when we approach the Lord, we approach for this, that we get the association of these great souls, so that we can access the mercy of Radha Ras Bihari. And today also we are celebrating the Srila Lochan Das Thakur's day. So I'll speak for just few minutes about him. So he was born just after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and after 34 years of that, Lochan Das Thakur appeared in Kogram in Vardhaman district in Bengal. So this was 1520 AD. And he is famous as a writer of Chaitanya Mangal, which describes very beautifully the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his childhood pastimes, his youthful pastimes, and many pastimes which are not so detailed described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Because it happened that both of their books were of the same name, Chaitanya Mangal. But then the Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kahe Veda Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Ravyasa Vrindavana Das. So he establishes Vrindavan Das Thakur as Vyasadeva, who has written Bhagavatam previously, and now he is writing Chaitanya Lila. So that's how the name came, Chaitanya Bhagavat. So this was given by you know, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And then the Lochandas Thakur's composition became Chaitanya Mangal. So this Chaitanya Mangal has 4 divisions. And then he describes very elaborately the beginning pastimes of the Lord. Very sweet. Because his writings are derived from the 2 specific devotees. Because Murari Gupta was present in Mayapur Navadvip, and he was also part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's previous pastimes. And he has written good notes of his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And in Sanskrit also he has written many shlokas describing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So as a child, when he was a child, he was very impressed with these shlokas which talked about the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's great mercy. And then he also got to read the notes of Damodar Pandit, who had made notes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime in Nilachal, Jagannath Puri. So combining both, then he created this very wonderful book, Chaitanya Mangal, which now also written in very simple language of Bengali. There are varieties of meters, like in Sanskrit they have chandas, different formations, the poet. So here in Bengali, this was written very nicely by our Lochandas Thakur. There is a formation called as Panchali. So in that he has written this whole book. So when he was born in that Kogram, which is from Vardhaman, his spiritual master is Narahari Sarkar Thakur. Narahari Sarkar's name we take in where? Gaurarthi. Narahari Adikari Chamara Dulaya. So he was his guru. His father's name was Sri Kamalakar Das and mother was Sri Sadananda. And he was kind of took his education and early childhood was at his maternal grandfather. He was staying there. And he had early marriage. Early means even when he was kind of, previously that was the custom. That when children used to be 5-6 year old, they used to get married. And when they used to become old, then they understood that they are married. So like that. That was a custom. That was done to safeguard the children. So when he was studying at the house of Narahari Sarkar as a student, he was so detached from anything material, and that could be seen very, very much in his life, that he had no interest in anything material. So he was living there like a brahmachari, he was peacefully going on. But when his wife came to the age where now they both are supposed to stay together, he approached the Narahari Sarkar that, he's married, wife is waiting. So Narahari Sarkar, he called Lochandas Thakur, he said that, this is the case, you have to go. He said, I don't want to go. But he said, no, you are responsible. So do this responsibility. So by Guru's order, he came to the place. First time he was coming, because he had no idea. So he was going, having his address. So when he went in the town, he wanted to check where is the home of this such and such person. So then he looked here, there, whom to ask. So some ladies were fetching water on the village well. So he approached them. He says that, Mother, can you please tell me, where is this house? So that Mataji told that, go this way. She guided. And then he went there, and the father-in-law was so happy to see his son-in-law at home, like a festival. They took him inside. And then the whole things were done, and then he was supposed to see the wife. So when they brought the wife, he understood that that is the same lady whom he said, Mataji, can you please tell where this house is? So that was the same lady. So when he saw her, he said that I cannot stay with this lady. He was asked, why? He said, I called her mother. So how can I stay with my mother? So understanding that he was genuine, and the father-in-law could understand that this will not work. So he allowed, he said, okay, you go back. So he came back again and started staying with his father, real father, that is Narahari Sarkar. So that was his renunciation, that he had no other interest other than serving Guru and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we are also celebrating, because tomorrow is Makar Sankranti, that is the day when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very mercifully, to spread and give his mercy to unqualified people of this Kali Yuga, took sannyas by crossing river Ganga, going to the place of Katwa, and very heart-rending pastime comes in these books, Chaitanya Bhagavad, Chaitanya Mangal, that how he did that. So that's tomorrow. So we see that these 2 days are very special, because today night Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and then took sannyas tomorrow. That place is there still, from where he jumped in the Ganga. It's called as Niday Ghat, that cruel ghat, from where there was the separation of devotees and the Lord. And we see that just following the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada also crossed not just one river, he crossed the whole world, all the oceans, just so that the unqualified living entities can become connected to Krishna. That was his mercy. So we are very fortunate today that we are sitting in the same place where there was a great exchange of Lord Radharaj Bihari and Srila Prabhupada. And I still remember whenever Prabhupada disciples, they come here, how much they can feel Prabhupada's presence here. And by their behavior we can understand little bit like that. So, because Prabhupada was telling to one of his very close disciple that when he was there in New Dwarka, Rukmini Dwarkadish, so he wanted to build a very palatial building there for the Lord, and he wanted that to be the headquarter for Western world. So Prabhupada was telling to one of his disciple that I was praying to the deities there, Rukmini Dwarkadish. that I want to build a home for all of you to be here like a palace. Prabhupada said that Rukmini Dwarkadish told him that no, you build the palatial home in Juhu for Radha Ras Bihari. Prabhupada said that I'll do, but I want build for you also. The deity said no, there. So Prabhupada said that they had some conversation like that, transcendental conversation, and then Prabhupada said, okay, if that's your desire. And then the whole the resources which he was supposed to use there, that whole thing was directed to Radha Ras Bihari. And that's why Prabhupada was so bent upon making this temple and not making this temple in any way lesser quality. When Prabhupada came here, he saw that marble quality was not very good. Prabhupada said, remove that, bring best quality. Because he wanted to make this as one of the best temple. So, we are so fortunate to be here and absorb mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu flowing through Srila Prabhupada, very accessible way. So when we are gratefully celebrating these days, then Radha Ras Bihari will be very merciful that we are taking shelter of his pure devotees. So these 2 days, today and tomorrow, which we are celebrating as anniversary of Radha Ras Bihari's temple opening, 45th anniversary. So we celebrate with this gratitude that we are fortunate that we are getting a chance to be here, serve them, and remember their sacrifices. So we are having with us all the great personalities who have served Prabhupada, Radha Ras Bihari personally. So I request Maharaj to share few things. We have
today time noon, tomorrow morning, first year President Giriraj Maharaj giving class. Again afternoon, Krishna may explain because the time no.
10 minutes are there.
अभी सुनना चाहते हैं?
हाँ सुनाइए। हरि बोल।
हरे कृष्णा। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशवारिणे श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। मैं हिंदी में बोलूँगा। आज का दिन जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण दिन है। 1978 14 जनवरी को राधा रास बिहारी जी यहाँ पधारे 5:30 बजे। बगल में ही रास्ता, बगल में ही छोटा सा मंदिर था, बहुत ऑर्डिनरी सिंपल, झोपड़ा पट्टी के बराबर। मंगल आरती मैंने किया उस दिन, इसलिए आज भी मैं कल मंगल आरती किया था, मैं आज करूँगा करके आज भी किया। तो मंगल आरती करने के बाद भगवान को यहाँ लेके आए राधा रास बिहारी। और तो बाद में प्रभुपाद की बहन जो हैं भवतारिणी माता जी, जैसे प्रभुपाद के लेकर बाहर निकला और कुछ सामान वामान लाने के लिए उधर पुजारी मुझे राधा रास बिहारी का साल को देना, वो काश्मीरी साल जो ओढ़े थे ना, उसको बोला ठीक है माता जी देता हूँ आपको। तो गया था, कोई ले गया था कोई उठा के ले गया था। फिर देखा राधा रानी का है, वो राधा रानी के लेके आए, यहीं पर वो खड़ी थी प्रभुपाद के पीछे। तो माता जी ये है, लेकिन राधा रास बिहारी का कोई ले गया, ये राधा रानी का साल है। ओह रोने लगी माता जी, रोने लगी। मेरा भाई को मायापुर में जब भी मांगता था राधा माधव का, वो राधा रानी का ही देते थे। तुम भी राधा रानी का ही दिया है? मैं बोला नहीं था। वो बहुत रोने लगी। मैं बोला चुप मत रहा, बिना राधा के कृष्ण नहीं मिलते हैं, उसलिए ये मैं भी, ये भगवान की इच्छा है। गुरु महाराज आपके भाई भी जो है देते थे, मैं भी आपके बेटा हूँ, मैं भी दे रहा हूँ। वो इतनी फिर खुश रोती थी, फिर खुश हो यहीं पर वो तारिणी माता जी। तो हो तारिणी माता जी इस पर है। तो प्रभुपाद जो है राधा रास बिहारी को यहाँ लाने के लिए विजयदशमी को संकल्प था, लेकिन हमारे गुरु भाई होलीनेस सुरभि महाराज नहीं बना पाए। तो इसीलिए 1978 में जो है ये ओपनिंग हुआ। नहीं, प्रभुपाद फिर नाराज होके चले गए थे वृंदावन, वृंदावन चले गए, वृंदावन से ऋषिकेश गए, ऋषिकेश में वहाँ ठहरे कुछ दिन। तो प्रभुपाद बोलते हैं तमाल कृष्ण महाराज को, आई लाइक टू ड्रिंक केजी वाटर, गंगा का जल। ऋषिकेश में तांबे का 1 लीटर का लोटा, लोटा थोड़ा छोटा था, 1 लीटर कम है। तमाल कृष्ण महाराज को बोले आप जो घुटने से ऊपर पानी में घुसो, एक आदमी तुम्हारा हाथ पकड़ा रहेगा और तुम जो है जल को लोटा में ऐसा करके डुबा के लेके आना। तो तमाल कृष्ण महाराज वैसे किए थे। मैं वहाँ उस समय नहीं था, ये तमाल कृष्ण महाराज मुझे बताए हुए, मैं पर्सनल सेक्रेटरी। तो प्रभुपाद पूरा लोटा का पूरा पानी पी गए। हो मेरा पेट स्वीकार किया है, तमस है प्रभुपाद ढकारे। जब खाना अच्छा रहता है, जब फुल हो जाता है या स्वादिष्ट होता है, स्वादिष्ट होता है अभी तक ढकार आता है तो बंद करना चाहिए। अब उसी वह पूरा पानी पी लिए, मेरा पेट जो है स्वीकार कर लिया। तो ये प्रभुपाद का लीला है सब। तो अभी इस समय तो सुनने में तो बहुत है, बहुत स्टोरी है, लेकिन मैं कल सुबह सुनेंगे और दोपहर को फिर सुनने का जो इच्छा है तो और आइए। बहुत सारी स्टे है, मुंबई का है, वृंदावन का है, दिल्ली का है, इलाहाबाद कुंभ मेला का है, मायापुर का है, सुनाएंगे जहाँ जैसे। लेकिन अभी मैं नहीं बोलूँगा, और मेरे सीनियर गुरु भाई लोग हैं उनको भी मौका देना। कल सुबह बोलेंगे, सुनेंगे। गिरिराज महाराज कल उनका श्रीमद भागवतम क्लास है, कल बताएंगे। लेकिन एक्चुअली 14 जनवरी का आज का दिन है, लेकिन ज्योतिषी के अनुसार आगे पीछे कल का बताया गया है। 8-10 साल से नहीं तो मकर संक्रांति कभी चेंज नहीं हुआ। मैं 81 साल से, मैं अभी 81 साल मेरा उम्र चल रहा है, लेकिन मैं जो है 75 साल से देखते आ रहा हूँ, कभी चेंज नहीं हुआ मकर संक्रांति। लेकिन अभी 8-10 साल से चेंज हो रहा है, तो इस हिसाब से भी बना रहे। तो आज रियल है, आप बड़े भाग्यवान हो, आज 2 शब्द बोलने को मिला प्रभु जी। अब बहुत बहुत खुशी के दिन है, हमें बड़ी खुशी है। प्रभु जी आप अच्छा है। तो यहाँ मैं कल बताऊंगा दोपहर का, सुबह गिरिराज महाराज बताएंगे। ठीक है, ओके। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, मुझे बोलने का चांस दिया, लेकिन मैं आपका पूरा इच्छा तृप्त नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, इसलिए क्षमा चाहता हूँ। हरे कृष्ण। आप लोग सब लोग कल करूँगा पूरा तृप्त। हरि बोल, हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा। मुझे श्रील प्रभुपाद जी से डायरेक्ट दर्शन का सौभाग्य नहीं मिला, फिर भी उनकी विशेष कृपा रही कि भक्तों के द्वारा मुझे किताब मिला था, उसका नाम था रसराज श्री कृष्ण। 1979 में एक छोटा सा किताब था, मैं 10 पैसे में उसको खरीदी किया, और हिंदी और अंग्रेजी दोनों भाषा में। और वो पढ़कर जब मैं 12वीं पढ़ने वाला था, 12वीं छोड़ दिया, 12वीं के बच गए 12, और हम हरे कृष्ण में डायरेक्ट भर्ती हो गए। और वैष्णव की कृपा से हमारा धक्का प्लेट गाड़ी धीरे धीरे अभी तक चल रहा है, और कृपा बनी रहे ऐसी अपेक्षा। हरे कृष्ण।
जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की, श्री राधा रास बिहारी जी की, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री गौनिताय की, श्रीमद् भागवतम की।
जय बोलो